the run.
Thanks. So yeah, sorry, I'm BBC, and this is the True Pacifist Glitchless ending. I guess when we're ready, we'll do a 3, 2, 1 countdown. So 3, 2, 1, go. So yeah, like I said, this is the True Pacifist ending. So we start off at the entrance of the ruins where we've fallen down, and we have to try and make our way through the underground safely and negotiating all the different creatures that we run into. So first up we run into Flowey, who he seems like he's trying to be nice, but he's not really. So for the first attack that you just saw, we move to the top left of the box, and for this upcoming attack we move down to the bottom left. It's just more optimal and saves a bit of time. You'll probably hear a little bit of keyboard clicking in the background. That's mainly to do with how we do mashing in this game, which I'll get into in a sec. So, okay, also by the way, that was Toriel, who's going to guide us through the most part of the ruins. Hello. So with mashing, what we do is we alternate between 4 keys, Z, X, Enter, and right shift. Z and Enter progress the text boxes, and X and Shift progress the text within the text boxes. So we're going to talk to the dummy here, it just saves time. And coming up we have a Frogget, which is scripted, which we flee from. We flee from the Frogget because if we do anything else, Toriel will come along and scare it, and it wastes time. So what I'm doing with my mashing is what we call piano mashing, which is rotating between Z, X, Enter, and Shift in a circular motion, which is one of the more efficient ways to do mashing in this game. Coming up to probably the scariest part of the run. So because this is glitchless, we do have a few different mechanics coming up. The first one, which I'll explain a bit more in the next room, is we have to grind 4 encounters so we can get enough gold to buy an item we call the Spider Donut. And the reason we do that, is it comes up later on in the run, and I'll cover that more in detail then. So this room now is where we get our first encounter. We just have to get a phone call from Toriel. Okay, that wasn't intentional. Whoops. So we want to threaten the Frogget. We get 2 gold from Frogget and Whimsons, and later on we get 1 gold from Mold Smalls if we get that encounter. Okay, so we want to terrorize the Whimson. Basically, consoling it, insta-spares, and it doesn't give you the gold, which we don't want. So at the moment we're at 4 gold. Nice, another frog skip. It's actually good RNG so far. So with the frogs there, you saw what we call frog skip, which is where you can run into the frog in the bottom right hand corner and it'll cancel the attack immediately. So we're going to get our last scripted encounter in this room. Just have to deal with this rock, who's going to be a bit of a nuisance. Okay, this is not the best RNG. In fact, this is the single worst RNG I can get. Double Frogget is the worst encounter because you have to do the spare action for both of them instead of just one. Okay, didn't get triple squeak, feels bad. So coming up, we've got Napsterbluke. We want to try and cheer him up because he's sad and lonely and all that. So we want to do it 3 times, and then on the fourth turn we can either cheer or flirt, as long as we don't check or threaten. Checking or threatening him on the 4th turn loses about 1.5 minutes, or worst case scenario, we just die. Okay, that was good. So we're going to go get the Spider Donut now. Yep, we got the donut. That's one of the important items of this category. Without it, we would lose a lot of time in Hotland. Okay, that was unfortunate. Right on the last pixel as well. So you notice that the music's a little bit quieter. If we get an encounter on the room transition, we get a decrease in the music volume for the next few rooms. Also, what you just saw me picking up was the Faded Ribbon, which is the second major mechanic we have in this run. So because we don't... Like, basically, there's a boss in core that we call Metaton. Because we don't get to skip him later on because we don't have the item we need to, we have to do a different mechanic to beat him as fast as we can. And that's one of the armor pieces that we need to pick up for said fight. Okay, that's not too bad RNG. I think that was 2 extras. 2 or 3. So we meet up with Toriel again, we go to her house. And what we do now is we go into this room up here and we take a rest. And then what we get afterwards is one of the other important items, which is the butterscotch pie. We need that 2 times in the run to save us a bit of time there in those 2 spots. Okay, that's not too bad. So coming up to the tutorial fight, let's go a little bit about the mechanics. Try that again. I'll just go over a little bit of the mechanics beforehand. So we want to try and get what we call the hand attacks. They have the same principle as the frog skips, which is if you run into the hands, it cancels the attack animation immediately. Hopefully Toriel's kind and I can get the 8 cancel set up. Okay. If I can get the setup now, that'll be great, because I can get 8 hands instead of 6. Nope. Okay, that's fine. I'll take a 6 cancel anyways. Hopefully I'll get another hand. Nope. Yeah, Toriel's one of the few RNG heavy points of the run that, you know, runners tend to... Oh, there's the setup that I wanted. Toriel is one of the main reset points that most runners go through in this game. Okay, I think take the 1 hit there. Okay, so we waited till the very last 2 attacks to take down the last 2 health points. Otherwise, if we took damage earlier without getting hands, it would have lost us time because the other attacks don't cancel straight away. When we go down to 2 HP, the attacks automatically stop regardless. So now we deal with this unskippable text. Then we get this particular cutscene here, and that is basically ruins. Not a bad time. 8:05, that's not too bad. Normally, for a good ruins, you're looking at around 7:40 to 8 minutes, so it's not too far off, but it wasn't the best ruins either. So we've got out of the main RNG part of the run now. Everything else just comes down to execution and not making any major mistakes. Yeah. So even though the run we're doing is pacifist, I'll go into this a little bit now, but I'll cover it more in detail later. Because even though it's pacifist, we do have 2 bosses that we actually have to fight and kill later on. But because of how the in-game save mechanics work, basically we don't actually have it counted against us. So the game thinks that because we saved before we did those 2 boss fights, that we didn't actually kill them, so we can still carry on with the pacifist ending. So we're just starting to get into the outskirts of Snowdon now, where we're gonna meet up with Sans in a little bit on the bridge. A little bit of optimization there. If you try and get as high up as you can on the bridge, it actually saves a few frames coming up. Okay, and apparently my sprite just moved up on its own. That's weird. Never seen that before. So we get a little bit of a cutscene here where we meet Papyrus. And coming up is the first item change of the run, so we're swapping out the stick for the tough glove. So we're doing a little bit of item management here. Okay, that's fine, I can save. Okay. Because one of the major things with this run is item management and remembering what position your items are in, because if you consume or use the wrong item at the wrong time, it basically kills a lot of time on the run. Spider Donut, for example, would probably lose me about 3 or 4 minutes, I think. I don't actually remember how long the fight is for that particular boss. So we just negotiate through these next few rooms without anything major. Coming up, we got Doggo. Throw the stick, and we spare next in. So with the Greater Snowdon area that we're covering now, most of the encounters we have will be part of the dog squad. So you just saw Doggo now. There's a few more coming up. And there's also some puzzles we have to negotiate. Although, not terribly difficult, mind you. Although this one might be a bit tricky. Yeah, there we go, first try. There's an ice cream guy. Unfortunately, we don't have to visit him at all with this run. Okay. Can I move properly? So another relatively easy puzzle, which we don't even have to look at because that's how it works. Welcome to Dog Eye Room, aka the single laggiest room in the game. Unless the dog, we can just flee. We don't have to worry about trying to spare him, or them, or whatever. The reason I say that this is the laggiest room in the game is because the snow particles load individually rather than as a collective, so it sometimes tends to cause lag in the game. Hopefully it wasn't too bad on my end. Okay, so we got the dog marriage now, Dogamy and Doggeressa. We just throw the stick at them again and spare. So we got the slow attack there, which only loses about 1.5 seconds. More puzzles. If there's anyone in chat that likes puzzles, then here we go. That was good. So there was a quick switch in there. There was a quick tree switch there to get the puzzle done. We do that because there's no other way to solve it unassisted. Okay, that was a little bit sloppy there. So we have color puzzle here, which we just skip through. We just say we don't understand it twice, and Papyrus just gives up and walks off. Okay, coming up is ice puzzle, and I've got to remember not to do the skip here. So this is what we call cinnamon swirl, because we basically... yep, there we go. Yeah. So normally in any percent categories, we do a different type of movement, and we get to the top right corner on a certain pixel, and we can proceed down and right onto the switch to basically glitch our way straight across. Also, a nice lesser dog on Frisk's head there. This is the true pacifist route, so we do the neutral ending first, and then we have to backtrack and do a few extra things and get the pacifist ending. No dog skip, feels bad. This RNG hasn't been too great, so... I don't know, I want to say I might get a low 15, like sub 15-10 into Snowdon, we'll see. Manuring wasn't bad, but encounters were kind of iffy. More cutscenes here. I don't know about you guys, but I really think that dog at the top right's looking like the most dangerous thing there. Gotta watch out for that. Okay, so that's more cutscene. So as soon as we go to Snowdon, we go to one of the vendors where we pick up our next item, which is the manly bandana. That was kind of slow, but I'll take it. So that's the second of 5 armor pieces we need. 4 of the 5 pieces of armor, no sorry, 3 of the 5 pieces of armor we pick up from vendors, and the other 2 we just happen to find. Okay, so we're coming up to the Papyrus fight. Hardest boss fight in the game, in my opinion. Oh no, I'm getting hit by the bones. Whatever will I do? I'm still getting hit by the bones. Somebody please help. Oh no, I died. Oh, and I didn't die, but I got down to 1 HP. So we get sent here, and we're going to try and fight Papyrus again. Hopefully we'll get past him this time. If not, well, I'm going to have to try... I'll probably just try the same thing again and see if it'll work, because you know what they say. Oh, I'm running into the bones again. What am I doing? Try holding up. I'm trying, but it's not doing anything. Why is my keyboard doing this to me? Why am I being forced over here? Okay, well, second time we didn't do much good, so we'll try again. Maybe third time's the charm, as they say. Fingers crossed. Hopefully this time will work. I swear it's like my right arrow's stuck. I don't understand. I can only move to the right. I can't move anywhere else. Oh, now it'll let me move left. Okay. Well, that didn't go to plan. Well, what's the saying? 4th time's a charm? Okay, here we go. 4th time. Let's see if we can get past him. Fingers crossed, everyone. Let's hope. Okay, we beat Papyrus. Yes. Okay, so memes aside, we fight Papyrus 3 times and we die to him 3 times because it's actually faster than doing the full fight in its entirety. It saves roughly 1.5 minutes as opposed to doing the whole fight. And now we get to go and hang out with Papyrus, because that's how it works. One of the 3 requirements of the pacifist route is to hang out with Papyrus. Okay, hangout time. So we're going to do a lot of mashing here. Oh, our friendship power is growing. Nice. Cool dude. So we check his jaw. Okay, it was a bit slow, but we got spaghetti skip. So what that does there, if we eat the spaghetti, we get some unskippable text, which actually takes a little bit longer to go through than skipping it. I'm sure the spaghetti would have tasted good, but unfortunately, we don't have the time for it. Gotta go fast. Okay, so that is Snowden, so we're going to progress through this room again and move on to the waterfall part of the run. There's not really much for now, but we'll get into a little bit of the things that are coming up when they get there. Also, hey Sans. Okay, so we've got the old tutu. That's one of the two armor pieces that we randomly stumble upon. The other one being the stained apron, which comes up later in Hotland. We get this cutscene. Okay, and then we get this nasty looking figure about to approach us in our little patch of grass, but luckily for us they technically retreat. To be fair, I wouldn't blame them. So now we move out of here and we get a mini cutscene with Monster Kid. Coming up with the flower puzzles, which are probably the single bane of my existence, unless they actually want to work right for me here. They're going to prove me wrong. They're actually going to work out for me instead of being a pain. Flee Aaron because we don't have time for you. Okay, and of course the flower puzzles decide to prove me wrong today. Usually they're a bit finicky, but for the most part they're not too difficult. Don't have time for you either, Washua. Goodbye. So coming up, we've got the first Spears Chase section, also known as Spears 1. Basically, we have to do a little bit of movement in order to not get hit. So for the most part, you'll see me staying towards the bottom of the pathway. So the hitbox here is kind of weird for our character. The spears can go through the top part of their head and not do anything to the character, but if they go too close, if they even go slightly under the feet, for whatever reason, then it still registers as a hit, so we get caught in the attack. But like I said, with movement and a little bit of manipulation, it's not too much of an issue. Oh, it's Monster Kid again. Also, that looks like it hurts a lot. I mean, you're getting basically grabbed by the side of your head / eye area. That's not too pleasant. Well, it doesn't look too pleasant, I mean. Okay. So, let's see if I have RNG on my side. I do not? Okay. There's the punch card shop, which we don't need to go to because we don't use that. So, in the room that I was in just before, well, the room I was in 2 rooms before, if I progress to the room I was just in, if I remember correctly, there is a 1 in 100 chance that we get what we call the Gaster hallway. And then from there, within the hallway, there's a subsequent 1 in 10 chance that we get the Gaster door. In which, if that had happened, obviously, one of the traditions we have is that we have to actually go in and investigate, because it's so rare that we actually get it. So coming up, we've got Onion-san, who is a really friendly onion-looking squid. with really weird facial expressions apparently. So coming up we have a surprise encounter with Shiren, which we flee from. So the next few rooms we go through aren't going to have anything major to worry about. We just go through it normally. We don't want an umbrella because, well, it's only a little bit of water. It's not going to hurt us, right? Also, hello again, Monster Kid. So, a little bit of trivia for that last room back there. If we were doing any percent with the punch card, there is a skip we can do with Monster Kid, but there is also a risk with that skip, and that if we mash the text away too early, we can actually soft lock. But because we're doing glitchless, we don't have to worry about that because we don't have the punch card. So we go up here. I've always wondered if he actually has shoulders, like he says, because he doesn't have arms, or it, I should say. I don't know if it's a male or female. Monster Kid doesn't have arms, so how can they have shoulders? Because it doesn't... Oh, that's whatever. So coming up, we have the second Spears Chase, also called Spears 2. This one's a little bit different to Spears 1, in that the spears actually come up from below. And we can actually manipulate the pattern of the spears by holding 2 arrow keys at the same time. So, at the moment, because I'm holding down and one of the left or right keys, they are coming up on the bottom part of the pathway instead of the top. Okay, that was getting... Ah, damn it. That was me getting cocky there. Okay, so I'm going to have to safety heal at the Mad Dummy save point, which loses us a little bit of time. It's unfortunate, but unfortunately that's what I get for being cocky. And that's the end of the Spears 2. And, oh look, it's the same person or monster or whatever that's been chasing us throughout this entire section. And we get cut down off the bridge and we fall down. Yeah, I suppose that makes sense. You could probably have shoulders without arms. I mean, I don't know. I mean, human anatomy is not really my specialty subject, so yeah, I'll just go with that. Okay, let's see if we get a little mini exploit here. Okay, we didn't get it. So what I tried to do there, it's a little trick. Okay, that's that done. So what I tried to do was a little trick that we call Jesus Frisk or Floaty Boy, depending on what sort of mood I'm in. It's not a glitch. It doesn't save any time or anything. It's just a special little bit of swag that, you know, makes it look like you're walking on water. Who's the hardest fight in TPE? That's a good question. I want to say Azrael, but I'll just... Yeah, I think it's probably a toss-up between Azrael and Asgore, just because Asgore is always difficult, and Azrael, well, yeah. Let's see if I can get 5 cycle here, hopefully. Ah, damn it. Oh, I just got it. Nice. Okay, so that was a super close 5 cycle. So the cotton balls that we were getting flung at us, we had to try and hit the dummy with in order to progress the fight to the second phase. With these missiles, we don't have to worry about hitting the dummy with them because it doesn't do any more damage. All we just have to do is dodge and not take any damage. Also a little bit of catchy music here for you. Last attack. Ow. Luckily I can take another hit, but I'd rather not. Yeah, first time I've taken damage in that part of the attack before, which is kind of weird. There is a Japanese version which is faster, but the only problem, well, I won't say the only problem, but the main problem with the Japanese version is that the inputs for for mashing are broken. Basically, with Linux, how Linux works is it registers Z and Enter as separate inputs instead of the same. So we can basically press those two keys at the same time and it'll register both at once. Whereas with JP, with the Japanese version, as with earlier versions of the game, such as Windows 1.0, it registers the keys as separate inputs. So, I mean, it registers as the same input, rather. So, if you try to push Z and Enter at the same time, it would only register one key, not both. So, yes, the Japanese version is faster, but the mashing is a lot more intricate. Oh, almost forgot the glasses. Okay, just do a... Yep, I got the right thing. Yeah. So, basically, yeah, the Japanese version is faster, but it's a lot more intricate to run than the Linux version. Yeah, so we navigate this room without looking at the lights because we already know the path. This room we use the lanterns to help us because it gets dark really quick. Also coming up is one of the best characters of the game, which hopefully a few of you might recognize. Hoi! It's Timmy. Yeah, ow, okay, can I move? So we have everything we need at the moment. I mean, there are a few people that run the Japanese version that have actually got a decent technique for mashing. Unfortunately, it is also relatively difficult to maintain because of how inputs work in that version. I guess the best advice I have is if you're starting to run the game, I'd say run on Linux first so you can get familiarized with how the game works and how mashing and all that is, and then move on to JP once you're familiarized enough with it. Because otherwise, if you start off on JP, it's going to be a lot more difficult to actually get consistent at some of the main parts of the run. Yeah, basically slower. It's basically what it is. You have to... It's mainly execution in this run. You know, there's a few things we can do, which, you know, I'll get through this little cutscene first. There's a few things we still get to do, but that's primarily because we don't normally get to showcase them because we either skip or... well, yeah, primarily we skip them, so we don't really get to see them that much in most of the other categories. So coming up we have Undertale. A little bit nervous here because I haven't done this fight on glitchless in a while, but